Holy Gospel this day comes to us from the Gospel of Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. As soon as Jesus and the disciples left the synagogue, they entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Now Simon's mother-in-law was in bed with a fever, and they told him about her at once. He came and took her by the hand and lifted her up. Then the fever left her, and she began to serve them. That evening at sunset, they brought to him all who were sick or possessed with demons. And the whole city was gathered around the door, and he cured many who were sick and with various diseases, and cast out many demons. And he would not permit the demons to speak, because they knew him. In the morning, while it was still dark, he got up and went out to a deserted place, and there he prayed. And Simon and his companions hunted for him. When they found him, they said to him, "Everyone is searching for you." He answered, "Let us go on to the neighboring towns, so they may proclaim the message there also. For that is what I came out to do." And he went out throughout Galilee, proclaiming the message in their synagogues and casting out demons. This is the gospel of the Lord. Grace, peace, and hope be yours from the God who so loves this world. Amen. Every Monday morning, when I wake up, I do the very same thing. Usually I groan because it's Monday. But besides that, I pull out the lectionary on my phone and read through the upcoming lessons for the next Sunday. I don't want to think about them theologically. I don't even want to think about my sermon. But I want to have them on the back of my mind as I go about my week. It is the first thing I do, and sometimes if I'm looking ahead, it's the first thing I regret doing. This week was no different than those days when I regret doing it. I read through the lessons and I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice. God created the heavens and the earth. God is not weary or asleep. And then I got to the gospel. And I wasn't very happy, especially as a feminist in 2024. Jesus has been traveling with his new companions for quite some time. They've gone to the synagogue where Jesus has cast out a demon, and now Jesus hears about Simon's mother-in-law, who needs some help as well. So they immediately go to her house, as we're told. Jesus comes in, is greeted with her. He cures her, and then what does she do but get up and start to make a meal? I'm like, dudes, come on. The woman just got healed and you're asking for a sandwich? On the surface, this story is problematic at best, and at worst puts people, especially women, in a place of the domestic sphere and confines them to the role of service. There would be some who would interpret that text this week probably that very same way. I remember listening on the radio some odd years ago from an NPR station was talking about the decline of churches. And this one church in somewhere like Alabama was trying to figure out why their church kept declining in membership and why no pastor or priest or whatever church denomination it was wanted to go there. They then alluded to the denomination, to which I screamed in the car, well, maybe you should start ordaining women. Seriousness aside, I don't think that Jesus cured and healed Simon's mother-in-law in order so that she could make them food, in order that they could gather together that day for a meal. I don't even think that women are limited to the domestic sphere or placed in a place of servicehood for their entire lives through. In fact, I believe those interpretations are not only problematic, they're not even biblical. It's certainly what Jesus' role as the gospel coming to life in us is not about. So as I read over this passage, and I got very frustrated with it, as you can hear in my agitation in my voice this week, I wondered where the gospel was then. what was going on that I was not seeing on the surface level as I did my initial readings of this text. As I went about each and every day wondering, what am I missing? What's not being said? So I did what my internship supervisor would have suggested I did earlier in the week. Sorry, Jeff. I went to the Greek. I decided to see maybe perhaps the Greek would have a gospel grain that I was missing in the English. And to my surprise and to my delight, it did. Friends, I regret to tell you right now, I don't remember what the word is in Greek, but I can tell you what it translates to. When Jesus lifts the woman up in English, in the Greek, Jesus raises her up. And again in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus raises people up. And when Jesus raises people up, he raises them up to service. Male, female, and non-binary alike, when Jesus raises us up, he does so for service for the world. And it's interesting, too, that very same word that Jesus uses, or Mark uses to raise all these people up, is the same word that when in time comes, Jesus will also be about for his own resurrection, when he is raised up as well. Jesus raises us up. From wherever we are at, wherever we might be from, Jesus meets us there and raises us up. That gave me a sense of hope. When I reread this passage again, and I thought to myself, well, there's the gospel after all. Jesus raises us up. Wherever we might be from, wherever we might be doing, that's what Jesus is about. So the question then is, when Jesus raises us up for service, what will we do? Maybe we'll want to cook a meal for people. Maybe we'll want to dance. Maybe we'll want to go out into the world and do some ministry we've never done before. Or maybe we'll go and do the ministry we've been doing forever that God calls us to in love. The next couple weeks during our Lenten services on Wednesday night, we'll be going to get together with the UW Lutherans in our congregation for conversation following the services. An opportunity about how we can partner and share in ministry more. I thought a lot about that as I thought about this sermon this next week, is what is Jesus raising us up to do in that partnership? Where is Jesus calling us to live further into that partnership? I don't know the answers, but I'm delighted to say we'll figure those out together. Thank you, O God, for raising us all up. Amen.